There. Gently. I'm gonna whack it with the gavel. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell,
Here.
Curran,
Here.
Freeling, Harrison,
Here.
Hinkleman, Majerick,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Walrath,
Here.
Werfel here, Yarborough,
Present.
Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. There's a line drawn through requisition review, so I guess we're not doing that today.
We don't have any.
Okay. Are we
First time in a
still
long time.
having
That's why.
Kevin Stack do an update?
We're gonna go ahead and proceed into next update for you all. And we'll have Kevin at the end.
Okay,
There actually is public comments before that. If you, oh,
right.
here. What are we doing?
Unless you'd like to do it right now.
I see Kevin just came
Just
in.
kidding, just kidding. Is there a bridge broken or something?
No.
Probably took him a while to get here because of the detour.
Yeah. Oh. That's what it is. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. you can-
I'm passing around a quick press release in regards to the Napier Avenue Bridge. This will be distributed about 9 a.m. this morning. It already has kind of been announced a little bit through media, but as of right now, the bridge has been stabilized. It was stabilized April 29th, which is the Friday after it was closed that Tuesday. Contractors worked till about 11:30 at night underneath that bridge, welding, getting temporary supports in place. Once that was done, it set over the weekend, still closed off Monday. That following Monday, we had certified weld inspectors on site. They inspected every weld, certified them and approved them. At that point, we put in monitoring protocol as far as how far that bridge is moving, what's it doing, and started watching it. We instantly had a meeting the following Tuesday with all EMS directors, fire chiefs, police chiefs, township officials, and just let them know that is open to emergency traffic. We put a dedicated route on that bridge for them to go through. We gave them maps, drawings, and took them on their own field trip across it, so they knew exactly how they had to come through. They've been asked to activate their lights and sirens when coming across, as there's a lot of workers and noise on that bridge, so they know they're coming. We've been watching this now for about a week and a half. It's working very well. We've shifted traffic once for them and notified them, and it seems the word gets around very quickly, so they're able to accommodate their travels. We are monitoring it right now. So basically what we're doing is simulating live traffic. So the ambulances and police are going across it. The construction traffic on top of it is going across it. We're putting weight on that bridge, making it move as it is supposed to, and watching to make sure everything is within tolerance as far as how much it's moving. Right now, everything's been great. No signs of issues at all. Right now, we are in the process of doing some work in the middle of the bridge, which is preventing any type of opening of it right now, with the time schedule getting delayed a little bit with this closure and rerouting a little bit of the construction activities to get it safe. We adjusted the schedule a little bit to keep them moving. So our ultimate goal right now is it will be open for Memorial Day, unless there's a catastrophic issue, which we have not seen, nor do we expect. It is doing exactly what it's designed to do. It actually can hold more weight now than what it was designed for. So prior to opening it, we will do another press release, video, everything to ensure the public that it is safe, that it is trusting. We will put every type of weight we can think of on it prior to putting live traffic on it. But it won't be open for blasting time. We have a press release that's going out as well today showing different routes around the blasting time parade for the couple hours it's closed. And then also, like I said, this press release for emergency traffic only. And then we will issue the press release for Memorial Day, that Friday before Memorial Day. I know the city has a parade, senior PGA's in town. and all of that. So it will be open by Memorial Day. Any questions?
Anyone have anything?
Mr. Chair, just as to the group, members of the admin committee yesterday toured the bridge construction site with Kevin. Thank you for taking the time to walk it, to see it. And I think that Kevin's worked hard to ensure that the bridge is continuing in a timely manner while focused highly on safety. The news release will be pushed out at 9 o'clock today. And to the board, if you have any questions, just please give me a call. We'll get you connected with Kevin, and if a tour is desired, just say the word.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. We're now at the point where we can receive public comments. If anyone has any they'd like to make. If up to 2 minutes, of course, name and where you're from, and anything under the sun except slanderous remarks. Okay, we'll move on to the scheduled discussion, the vacancy for District 3. This is something that comes up from time to time. Last time was when Neil Nitz passed away. Before that, we had Commissioner Woolley resign during his term of office for various reasons that we don't need to go into today. And then back in 2008, Larry Clymer died. And so we had to go through this process. Corporate counsel was kind enough to prepare a little statement. And I meant to read it about public comments, so bear with me. I'm going to digress for a moment when I said anything under the sun, unless it's slanderous. The Board of Commissioners embraces the diverse points of view as the board considers a wide variety of policy challenges. The right to be heard is a central democratic value, and I'm going to repeat this at 10:30. That said, public comment is most productive when it is civil and respectful. Personal attacks have no place in reasoned discourse. We urge all commenters to share their viewpoints in a manner that is respectful and courteous, and to refrain from making comments that are abusive, defamatory, or obscene. Hopefully nobody has a problem with that. Now, back to District 3. We've chatted about this informally. We've put together some questions. The chair of PHS had gone through and had come up with some questions that we're going to be presenting when we talk with the folks who have submitted applications. Last I knew, there were 4. And the application process closed at 5 p.m. Tuesday. So we're not going to have more than 4. Bob, did you want to chime in on what we're going to do in terms of the questions to the applicants?
So excuse me, thank you for that reminder. We have, 4, I think, reviewing their applications, 4 good candidates. And so the thought is that, the commissioners will look through their applications and materials. We'll ask, hold interviews with a select number of those candidates and ask the same questions, much like we do when we're interviewing for employment here at the county. So we'll ask for each candidate to do a brief summary of, who they are, why they're interested, and then 3 or 4 specific questions. Some of it's based on how many candidates you'd like to interview. So right now it's still, we're settled on about 3, but we can add a couple more if indeed any of the commissioners have questions, they love to hear candidates get asked, then if you'd please let me know, we can add those to the list.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Well, we get to see the list before,
Yes.
I mean, to be able to add something to it if we want to. Thank you.
And everyone's received the applications from the 4 individuals?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions about those applications? Yes, sir.
Mac, I have one. There's one application that's different than the other 3. And is it even the right application is my question. It was, I don't want to say his name wrong, Mr. Pitchford. He has the Berrien County Board Committee application. That is for the committees that the board chair appoints to, such as planning, LAPC, things like that, where people sit on them. Whereas the other ones are the application for the Berrien County Board of Commissioners. And it's a completely different application. And I'm just wondering with that, if that's even a proper one or not. Didn't know.
So sorry about that. I did not catch that. The 2 are very similar and they have the similar content on them. We derived the application to fill the vacancy on the commissioners from the one that we were using for the board and committee appointment.
Just a question.
It's analogous to a scrivener's error, I suppose.
Well, and I'm the only one in this room that knows anything about a scrivener's error.
Given the body of the application refers to District 3, the intent of Mr. Pitchford, I think, was to submit an application to fill Mr. Meek's term, the rest of Mr. Meek's term. So
I just wanted to bring it up.
No.
So it's completely out in the air
appreciate
and
it.
that was discussed.
You okay with that? That is, okay. All right, well, we'll accept it,
All right.
even though there's this technical defect. But it addresses the application for this board vacancy, so we'll treat it as such. Ma'am. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Does anybody, we've addressed the questions. Those are going to be shared with everyone. Is there anything else we need to do before we break?
As far as the interview process, this is one that could be a bit time consuming. I think it would make some sense just to talk about what your schedule looks like.
Okay. When would we anticipate doing the interviews? Number 1.
That would be next Thursday morning. There's a special meeting posted at 8:35.
Okay. Are we fluid with committee business next week?
I
We
would
can
recommend.
be. And we anticipated that we may have to move those depending on how many you chose to interview.
I would think at minimum 2. And there's a good argument for 4. I mean, if someone took the time to fill out an application, unless the application was truly for the wrong position, not just on the form that's technically incorrect, but if they went through the process, turning in an application, then I would think we'd want to hear from everyone.
I know we can't vote, but a consensus is I'm good with 4.
Me too. I don't see any reason to not.
Yeah, I mean, we're not voting right now, but if someone is not okay with it, this would be a good time to say, no, I don't want to interview all 4.
Mac, excuse me, we posted this as a special
Yeah,
board
you
meeting
can vote. This is
for the purposes of being able to do that. So that's the reason why we changed it from a committee of the whole format
Right.
to a special board meeting, so that
Okay.
you can vote on that.
Okay, all right, well, yes, ma'am.
When I look at these applications, I see things on there was no order or need. It asked for a signature. On one of them, there is no signature. It asked for, why have the form if it's not filled out right? And it's only one page. It's not that difficult. Spelling errors, you know, a number of things.
Yeah. I get it. Again, I'd be inclined to accept it even without a signature, but it is noted. Anything else?
Mr. Chair, as long as you all are comfortable with suspending your committees next week, there should be more than enough time to get through all four. At the staff level, we did discuss this with the PHS chair. The benefit of having a somewhat limited number of questions is, it really is just time management. If you stick to a standard script and treat each of the four applicants with the same questions, it ensures that you've got a uniform process and what would be described as a fair process.
Yep.
So if this group says proceed with four, we will get that scheduled. If this group, we will send out the proposed questions, and we would respectfully ask, just take a look at them today. If edits are needed, let us know as quickly
possible,
and we'll work to finalize the list of questions.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move that we interview all four of the candidates.
Is there support for that
I
motion?
will support that.
Moved by Harrison, supported by Scott. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's approved. 10-0, 2 absent.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
the reason I brought up the one was because it was on a different application. And we allowed that for a Scribner's error, so I'm glad that we allowed the other one without a signature for a Scribner's error also.
Yeah. Maybe we'll, yes, ma'am.
If we're going to try to utilize the same questions for each person, and it's done in a public meeting, how will the first person not have opportunity to see those questions, and the fourth person will have plenty of time to think about those questions? Will it be a random draw? How will we handle that?
Well, in fairness, I think maybe we should sequester the 4 applicants so that they each hear the questions for the first time when they're being interviewed. So Mr. Martin's here, for instance. If Mr. Martin were the first person to be interviewed, then the other 3 folks would need to go sit down in the middle of the building near the treasurer's office. And yeah, and they would be on their honor to not be watching the meeting on YouTube. I would actually go so far as to say if they did that, I would not vote for them.
Can I follow up on that?
Sure.
So what the situation you just described is really common for upper level management in public positions. I'll point to Thaddeus's interview. And as we went through that process, there was the potential that he could have listened in on questions. Chose not to. I'm in the same boat. I've in the past been through a public interview process where while you can do it, it certainly speaks volume if you choose to do it. So this is one that at the staff level will happily run the people back and forth. Now, out of the 4 candidates, could 3 potentially sit in on the first interview? They could. It would definitely be frowned upon.
Yeah, is everyone okay with just having one person in here at a time?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
One more thing, sir. Just briefly spoke with Annette. We will print out the questions and have them in front of you before you all leave today. You'll have a chance to take a look at it, and ideally, if you have feedback, let's try to get it into her hands today. It's just gonna make this process a whole lot easier.
Please designate those as drafts. I don't want to run into a FOIA situation. Were we to get a FOIA request for those questions, I would suggest that we invoke the statutory provision for an extra 5 business days, which would put us effectively past this interview date next Thursday. I don't know that anyone would do that, but I'd rather.
So what does that mean? Ask for to see the questions?
Well, somebody
FOIA,
might
freedom
do a
of
FOIA
information.
request to try to get the questions
Yeah.
ahead of the interviews. And that should not happen. So these wouldn't be final, right, Mr. PHS Chair? These would be drafts. Drafts aren't FOIAble. But even if they were deemed FOIAble, normally you have 5 working days, which is 1 week. But under the statute, you can request an extra 5 working days, which is 2 weeks. In as much as these interviews will be 1 week from today, were we to get a FOIA request today, it would not be a timely request in terms of a response until the 26th of May. So chess, not checkers. Just think a little bit ahead. Is everyone okay with that? Corporate counsel? Okay. All right. Anything else on this matter? We'll break then. If we don't have anything more, we could get into committee business early. And we'll come back here at 10:30.